Will you consider setting up, I know the police already have it, immigration, all your agencies have it, but will you consider setting up a complaints unit under your ministry itself and uplift you to the status of a director, where citizens can go and complain direct without being intimidated, or they have that feeling that they will be intimidated? If there's not one, will you consider doing that?
Mr. Chairman, I mean, this is a very legitimate thing. I've had that serious concern. You know, currently what the police, what they do is that when something happens, then the police themselves will say they have the police professional, what do you call it, they have the PIPs, where they will be investigating the issue. I believe that we need to have an independent body that composed with other persons, not necessarily police alone, investigating these complaints. The Standard Bureau, the Independent Police Standard Bureau, that we've seen in other jurisdictions, we need to be able to do that. And together with the hierarchy of the police administration, we'll take steps to do that. And Mr. Chair, my colleague was right. I remember when the 7 young men in my constituency were shot and killed. And then I remember the then Minister of Interior came to Parliament and said, Honorable Muntaka, we are going to investigate. I say, I've had many of that have been investigated by the police and I never heard anything. I insisted, and then that push for an independent committee to be set, which was chaired by a High Court judge. And the results was different, because it came out that they were not armed robbers, they were just killed. And we had to even pay compensation. So there are examples of when we insist that the police alone should not investigate, actions have been taken. I must also admit, there have been instances where the police themselves also investigated alone and have been able to find culprits and punish them. But I believe that if we are able to have an independent police standard bureau, or it's like we've seen in other jurisdictions, it will put the trust of the ordinary citizen more to be able to call and make the complaint than just to leave it with the police. And not only the police, it's the same with the prisons, the same with the National Fire Service, the same with immigration and other agencies that are under the Ministry of Interior. So I can assure my colleague that we'll do that. But whether to do it in the ministry is something that I will look at its possibility. Maybe a director to ensure that those agencies have, because remember, these are professional bodies that are well trained and they are experts. All we need to do as a team is to ensure that they are acting right and they are doing what is right. Once we get them to do that, maybe I can designate a director who will be supervising to ensure that all of them set this thing. But I doubt whether it will be useful to have it at the ministry, where if something happens in the prison, you call the ministry. If something happens at the fire service, you call the ministry. At NADMO, you call the ministry. At all the other, call the ministry. I think it may be too difficult, unwieldy. But we can get these institutions to do that and make sure that those committees or bureaus that they may set will be working and working effectively. Thank you very much, Chair.